Cole, buddy, welcome back to the podcast. How you doing?
Good, my man. How are you?
Good, man. It's been a minute. I feel like every couple of years we'll do a podcast and then we'll see each other in person at like some event, and then we'll go a couple of years and text a little bit back and forth. And here we are.
Oh, so, man, I'm gonna definitely throw this on our pod too. And I think there's not a lot of people that have been consistent in this business for a long period of time in their messaging and their thoughts and how to think about things. And I think you're one of them, and I try to be one of them. And I think those are the people that tend to do good business and do right by people, which, as you know, there's not a lot of out there. I know we were texting, locking last chat, and you got screwed over by someone. Someone snaked you or something on a deal. I don't remember exactly what happened, but yeah, it's a wild
list of those, brother. I got a list of that. By the way, you can interview me on this show too if you want. We could do a hybrid interview. So we'll be the innovators here. I interview you, you interview me.
I mean, an interview. I think
we're just gonna chop it up, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll start off with this. This is a funny story. You'll like this. So this is a mistake that I made. That there's some good lessons here. So I was telling you, I sold this property to a Russian guy in Tacoma. Great buyer, good dude. The property wasn't really like, it was a real bad prop. Like, it needed a ton of work, open red tags, like the whole thing. And I was like, oh shit. So I didn't really have a lot of traction with it. So I was like, I had one offer from this guy and he was like, hey, I'm ready to go. Don't worry. And I was like, man, it's not really what I want, but you know, it is. I knew it was like at least going to make some money, but I was like, all right, like, you know what? While this guy's like making me his offer that I haven't signed, I had another buyer, good buyer, we could talk about that offline, circling, but she couldn't make a decision right away. So I figured like at that point, she probably was out. So I was like, all right, like they probably won't submit. So whatever. So I didn't have patience. I signed with this guy, all good, no worries, little, 15 assignment, not a big deal. It's better than nothing. So it's in escrow, it signs. And then the next day I get a call from that other buyer and she goes, hey, did you sell, I think it was on 11th Street. You sell 11th Street. I'm like, yeah, I did sign the assignment. She's like, bummer. I should have acted quicker on it. That's my fault. I'm so sorry. I'm like, yeah, it's all good. Don't worry. She's like, well, can I put a backup offer in? And I'm like, of course you can. You never know in this business. So she's like, what do you need from me? I'm like, just tell me what the number is. And that's it. Her number was $30,000 more than what I got. Right. So I go, thank you. Like I bit my tongue. I said, oh, thank you so much for submitting. If they flake, I'll let you know. We'll go from there. So I call the buyer up, and it's all of it tied together in a minute because it's ironic what happened with the buyer. So I called the guy up. I said, hey, because he wasn't too into it, but he just wanted to get another deal. Like, he wasn't super interested, but he was like, whatever. So I said, hey man, you don't have to take this offer if you don't want to. And you're probably going to I hope you're sitting down from before what I'm going to tell you. I said, how about I pay you $10,000 and we break the assignment and you get your EMD back. I said, if you really don't want the deal, I'll pay you 10 grand to cancel and I'll give you the EMD back. So you'll get 15. And if you don't want to do that, I totally get it. Like, that's totally fine. We can just proceed with the deal. And he's like, oh, would you get a higher offer? And I'm like, I did, but obviously I have to sell to you and I'm going to honor that. But if you don't really like the deal, you want to make a quick 10 grand, let me know. Offers on the table, no pressure. He's like, let me call you back in an hour. He calls me back an hour later. He's like, I appreciate your offer. We're going to commit to the deal. We're going to just go through. I said, no problem. All good. So we get to close. He closes it. The other buyer calls me. She said, hey, did it close? I'm like, yeah, it closed. So this dude buys the property. He realizes he gets over his skis when he closes and he goes, oh my God, I hate this house. It's a shit box. I don't want to rehab it now. So then he has another wholesaler try to wholesale that property for him because he doesn't want to freaking do the project because he not overpaid, but it was a shit box. Yeah. And I call him and I said, hey, what are you doing with this guy wholesale? He's like, oh man, I should have taken your offer for $10,000. I can't believe I didn't do that. Now I got to, whatever. So the point of the story is, if you're wholesaling, be a little bit patient if you don't get the offer you want, because sometimes you'll make an extra 30 grand, which I didn't make, but figured you get a kick out of that one. I don't know if that's ever happened to you before, but that was a personal.
Well, you went about it the right way. Like, so many people in that situation, they just they're a little shady and they do whatever it takes to kill the deal with the first.
Yeah, no, I would never do that. Yeah, that's fun.
Also, I would say 9 out of 10 people.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, to be fair, 30 grand is a lot of money.
So it would have been a 45K fee versus a 15K fee. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's like doing 3 in 1.
It's like adding a teacher's salary in one deal to yourself.
Yeah.
It's not nothing. But the way I think about, that is, when I do the exact same thing, I always go back to the buyer and I'm like, hey man, like, we can do the deal. I'm a man of my word. to sign a contract, but like, I did get another offer, and I'll make it right for you. And I found most of the time, because of people ego, like they won't take it. They'll be like, no, okay,
Yeah, and it's a scarcity thing.
I'm,
They're like,
I'm
I got a
guessing
deal.
using, but now, right? Like someone else would be 30 grand more. Like this is a good deal then.
Exactly.
Funny enough. So yeah.
Turns out he didn't think that.
But yeah, I mean, I think in this business with situations like that, like you were calling out and you're a wholesaler, and you're signing deals, you're putting in all the work. I think a lot of people really hurt themselves on that part of this business for a lot of reasons. But I think you could take a guy like Greg, who's been doing dispositions for years, and someone new, and give them the same 20 deals to sell in their calendar year, and Greg would probably take home 2 times the amount of money that the other person would, just because he's been doing it a while. And part of that is just time in the seat, but a lot of that is just patience and not getting commission breath and, so excited about a number. And I've had it happen so many times early in my career. I had to learn that lesson, especially on the bigger deals. There's one deal specifically we contracted for like 450, and that same day we got an offer for 625. It was a massive spread, and I took it in 2 seconds. But then the next offer was for 675. Then I got an offer for 705, and
Oh man.
I left 100 grand on the table. So
Yeah.
I think patience, and there's something to be said in a weird market. Like it's also good to get the deal gone. And that's why it's so important to stick to a market and know the market and know the players and know the price points. So, if you're maximizing your deal or not. So
Exactly.
I think it's valuable. So that one, is he repeat buyer, or is that the first one, only one he's bought from you?
This was the first one he's bought from me. I would sell to him again for sure. Like he was a good dude. I probably wouldn't take a low offer like that. Obviously, I won't make that same like strategy mistake again, because I should have just waited an extra 24 hours because I didn't get the offer I wanted regardless.
Yeah.
But the point of that story for the people watching this or listening to this is like, you know, money is great and getting income is obviously important, but the relationships and keeping your word is what keeps you around. And that's where I see a lot of shady, I wouldn't even say wholesalers, just investors in general. They cut corners, they don't make decisions based off of relationships and reputation. And that's unfortunately why this business has such a bad reputation, because everybody is thinking transactionally, and they don't realize that if they fuck somebody over, not only doesn't matter what market you're in, every market is a small market, because the amount of people doing real business in any area is small because it's not easy. And people don't realize that, when you're a person of your word and you do what you say you're going to do, that's worth a lot more money than $30,000 that I accidentally left on the table. Because the next time that guy deals with me or I deal with him, you know what I mean? It's like you have that reputation. Like, and there's a lot of people in this, I guess Seattle area, because I'm here, that are shady, right? And that's just the way it is. And that's in any market. And when you have that reputation, you're kind of walking around with toilet paper on your shoe and everyone can kind of see it, and people don't want to deal with you. But you gotta make sure you have a good reputation, and you don't burn people on transactions, because it really comes back to bite you. And I've seen it happen a lot, at least out here and in New York, where that's another small market. Like, you get a couple bad apples, and next thing you know, they send out a deal and nobody even looks at it because they're like, oh, these people are super shady, I don't trust them. And then you're like, your credibility's ruined, and that's ultimately going to cost you more money than that extra 30 grand you squeezed out of that guy.
That was a lot, but I think that if someone asked me like what's catapulted my career, and the 9 years I've been self-employed more than anything, it's 100% relationships. And I just did a deal. It's a good example of that. I get a call I get an Instagram DM from an agent, because I'm always on there like, hey, send me what you have.
Yeah.
And he sends me this deal in Clyde Hill in Bellevue, which is higher end area,
High end neighborhood. Yeah.
and yeah, and he's like, hey, Cole, the seller's about to our seller's about to list for 3. I think if you can get us an offer at 2.7, 2.8, we'll do the deal off market. And the market's weird right now, especially in that price point. And so he's like, but to do that, like, I need to see, $2.5, $3 million in the checking account and cash ready to go. And also you need to waive every inspection contingency. And I was like, okay, well, 99% of people can't get that deal done, because
Especially at that price point. Yeah, that's crazy.
$3 million in cash. And then you have to, commit hard earnest money of 50 grand same day. And so I made a phone call and to a guy I built a relationship over a long period of time. And he went out right away, walked the property, met the owner, shook their hands, showed them the proof of funds, and called them back, said, I'm good. Yeah, sign it. And I signed the deal, and I signed it to him the same day. And, pretty good size, deal. So I think, relationships as a whole, well, if you're a flipper, like, and you get yourself stuck in a shitty deal, a lot of times relationships can bail you out. With financing, relationships matter.
Mm.
Um, if you build a reputation, people bring you their deal. I mean, I could probably do nothing the next year and just off, deals that agents will bring me because of relationships make a great living. And I think that everyone out there should be thinking that way instead of trying to go nationwide and conquer the world. Say, if I become the guy in this area and I keep my costs down, like I always say, you have a 60, 50, 60, 70% net margin. Um, that's a great real estate business. And I think if you can get your main income, whether it's wholesaling, flipping to, 500 grand to $1 million a year in net profit, then you can take the next step. Hey, I'm going to do 3 high-end flips. Now I'm going to build 1 home a year. Now, whatever that next thing is that gets you to 1 million, 2 million. A good example of that is, a longtime client of ours, Dave Janis, who's in Boulder, Colorado. I think you may know Dave, Greg.
I know Dave. He's a good dude. Yeah.
So his model is exactly that. We helped him build this wholesale shop, and it's consistent base hits from listings and wholesale deals. But he also is selling 1 new construction deal a quarter that he's building, and so every quarter he's getting a 300 to 500 grand, home run. But he built his stable income first as an agent and doing wholesale deals, and once he got that to $500,000 or more, he added on to the development layer. And I think instead what everyone tries to do is they try to be this, this wizard. And the way that I think relationships how you do it. I think that we're in the people business. If you need money to buy a deal and you have the like you could send me a deal for $8 million right now in Queen Anne. If it's a good enough deal, I could probably close on that deal in 3 days with, and I don't have not on a dollar of mine, and figure it out. So, I think that's a great, triple click on that, what Greg's talking about, because you guys, if you can just do that and not be a weirdo, everyone's so weird in this business.
Yeah, it is.
You meet them at a conference, all they want to talk about is, how big their dick is and how much money they make. And, you're like, you're a weirdo. Like, just don't be a weirdo.
Dude, that's all they need to hear. Don't be a weirdo. Podcast over. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's true, dude. You go to, you meet people and like everybody like has this like front they put on, and like nobody, like I don't really post on Facebook that much because I don't give a fuck, but I did post like last week. And like the reality is the people that make them out to, like people that make themselves out there to seem rich or whatever, number one, they're probably not rich. And number two, the people who actually are rich don't give 2 shits. They really don't care because they're busy. They already have money. They don't get impressed by random people. They don't get impressed by many people, honestly, not because they're better than everybody, but that's just the facts. And it's just not a good thing. And in this biz, like you mentioned, like if you just are a good person and you do what you say you're going to do, and you have a, decent business brain with operations and marketing, like you're going to make enough money to be, very happy with what, with what you want. Right. So I just see so much smoke and mirrors and people like just so transactional, man. And like, I've bought houses from wholesalers before where I was not the highest offer, but because they know, like, and trust me, they sold to me and they still made good. I mean, bought 1 house in Gig Harbor. The guy made 116 grand. I didn't give a fuck what he was making. I couldn't care less. I said, okay, you're going to give me this good deal. Like, I don't make $1 million. Who cares? Yeah. And I don't count people's money. And that's another thing. People can't, you're making 50 grand. You're just flipping the contract. It's like, dude, what does it matter? If you're getting a house for 500,000 that's worth 750, what does it matter what I got it for? Because it doesn't matter. Like, and I see a lot of people, they don't understand it. They get greedy. They're like, I can probably get him down because he's flipping the contract. It's just stupid shit. So don't do stupid shit, and build a good reputation. And that reputation over time will not only make you consistent money, but it'll make you feel good about yourself. And it'll make people want to do more business with you, which will make more money, right? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way.
It creates escape velocity for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's like that's almost like the iron moat around a wholesale shop or a off-market business is like anybody can mail and do Google ads and cold call, but like the people who actually are legit good people who have a brand that's built through the owners being good people, that's really what creates the moat to where they can get a lot of referrals. And I'm in the same boat with you where like I have people send me deals all the time, and it's like I could not do any marketing and like you said, make good money without just doing shit, right? And it's like that comes with 10 years or 9 years in your case of doing the right thing and building a good brand, right? A personal brand. Because the thing with these businesses too, as we go down the rabbit hole now, the brands aren't really worth anything. It's the owners who own the brands is what's actually valuable in in terms of getting referrals. Like you're not selling your wholesale business for 10 million bucks. That's not happening. But you could maybe get $10 million worth of, whatever gross closing volume through a good, owner who does the right thing. That's kind of how I look at it. And that's the asset itself that doesn't need to get, marketing spent every month.
Well, I also think like a good frame on that is I do believe until you have a good brand and reputation, every business is a hamster wheel.
Yeah, of
Or
course.
like
Yeah.
like in one of our companies at the Easy Button, like, we can run all the Facebook ads that we want. We can, do all the social media marketing that we want. But until you reach the point, which we're at now, where your customers want to tell other customers about you,
Mhm.
um, that is when you have a business. And I think in the real estate space, yeah, no one's probably coming to buy your wholesale shop, no matter what someone tells you online. But I don't know if you want to sell it. If you got it good enough, you wouldn't want to sell it anyways.
Yeah, because
Uh,
you're just gonna get paid once, and then you got to go start it up all
well,
over again.
yeah, people have fallen in love with this fantasy of selling a business, and when you actually think about it, so let's say you get your wholesale company to $2 million a year, and you're making $1 million profit, and someone comes in and says, "Hey, I'm going to pay you $5 million cash." Okay, so you now sell your business. It's making you $1 million a year in income for $5 million. You get a check, you pay taxes, you have $3.8 million left. Then what happens? Well, then if you're smart, you put it in at least half of it into a pretty conservative growth, and you invest the rest in a little more aggressive way. But let's say you're getting on average, even let's say you're getting 6, 7% a year, right? So you're making, let's say 7%. So on that $3.8 million, you're making 200 grand a year off your money. But you just gave away a business that's making you $1 million a year.
Exactly.
Realistically, AI isn't coming in to automate real estate. I mean, people have already tried it with even the escrow process with Modus, and it just doesn't work. Like, because it's a people business. And so, you could perfect the perfect brand and build all these tools, and maybe someone does buy you. But you're not going to get a multiple that makes them make sense. The reason people sell software companies is because their net margin is 15%, and a bigger company says, "Hey, I want your user base. I'll pay you 10 times or 20 times top line, and you get a check for $25 million when you're going to
That. Yeah. Exactly.
from your business, and now you're making $1 million a year, and then it makes sense." But I think for so many people, the fantasy should be, let me do $1 million or $2 million a year, have a lean team where I can travel and live my life, but also, have a 50, 60% net margin, and, clear 750, $1 million. And then you have the breathing room to make good decisions. And for a lot of, when I was speaking at an event last year, and I asked the room, it was Ryan Tosh's event in San Diego. And I was like, "Hey guys, how many of you guys are making $1 million a year in net profit from your business?" And like, out of a room of 100 people, maybe one dude raised his hand. And I'm like, "Okay, well, why don't we just get there first? Like, why are we thinking about syndications and Airbnb and raising money and selling my business? Boom, and by the ring,
Yeah.
why don't you just keep it lean and make $1 million in net profit, and then see where that takes you?" For most people, they'd be happy there. Like, they don't need more complexity, more brain damage. Make $1 million take home income. Invest it the right way. Limit your tax liability. Get it in assets that compound and that are appreciation heavy, and wait 10 years. And all of a sudden you're worth $15 million. Yeah. And then you can,
Then you don't have to work if
hedge
you don't want to.
but yeah, exactly. But
Loan
I think
money.
the whole bullshit of like, don't work if you don't want to, is wild to me, dude.
Because a dude who's going to build something like that, that's in that situation, is wired to be productive. That's the thing people don't talk about. If you're going to go hard for 10, 15, 20 years and be an absolute, as we would say in the hockey world, a nail gun, you're not going to be happy with 20 million in the bank on the beach in Maui
No,
every
you
day
vacation hard, but like, it's
for a
like,
week, and then you get the fuck out of there. You get back to work, dude.
Jimmy's a good example. I was on the phone with him last night, and he's on his 11th month straight of filming. He lives in Arizona, but he's in Washington Sunday through Thursday every day filming. He's on his 11 month straight of it, 10 hours a day. And, the guy could, not work again for 4 lifetimes. Right. If you are capable of building that thing, your wiring and your makeup is not going to let you just sit on a beach. And yeah, I vacation. I go on vacation to LA last year.
Going next week, yeah.
It was like 13 or 14 countries last year. And, we spend a solid, 3 to 5 months out of the year gone. And, but I'm working, like I call it traveling, because I'm not,
Yeah.
I rarely will vacation. Once in a while, maybe twice a year, I'll actually take a week off, or like I'm not taking calls, I'm not going to sit meetings, I'm off. But other than that, I'm working in the morning, I'm working in the evening, I'm still working. I'm just doing it in a different place.
Exactly. Because you want to too. And that's the thing. Because if you start getting good at the business stuff, real estate, whatever, you enjoy it. You enjoy it. It's fun. It's fulfilling. You like hitting your goals. And like, that's the thing I was talking about with some people. Like, some people just don't like real estate. It doesn't jive with them. And that's okay. But you got to find something else that you do like. Because I happen to, like real estate, which is kind of crazy. But, you know, even though I like it and I'm good at it, doesn't mean it's not hard. And there's not times where you just like, fuck this, dude. I just want to cash in. But, I do feel like a lot of the times, like at least when I was way younger, before, I was doing this business, like I was a lifeguard at a pool or, whatever. And it was like, that sucked. That felt like a job. But like, at least in real estate, if you're self-employed, the buck stops with you. If you want to make more money, you got to go out and do more things. And eventually the feedback loop, you'll be like, oh, fuck, this is awesome. I can make a $100,000 profit fixing and flipping a house for 3-4 months. Like, that's fucking life-changing money. And let's do 4 of them a year. And now we're making 400. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like you can make it however you want to make it. And you've been really good at that too, honestly, because you've seen with your clients and even, your businesses with real estate, like you've seen scaled up businesses, you've seen businesses that are super small. And then you've seen this good medium now where, you got a couple people on your team, everyone's pulling their weight, everyone's making good money. And you don't have to be the biggest shop in town, because most likely the shops that are smaller are more profitable than the ones that are doing 30 contracts a month when 15 are falling out. So they're really doing 15.
Well, yeah, and you want to build a team that has a tenure. And,
Yes.
most of the guys that work for me across my company have been, we have over 150 people across our businesses. A lot of them have been with me for, 5, 6, 7 years. And I found like I would rather sacrifice some of my own income to put the golden handcuffs on people and get to new and network where they can't leave, or they don't want to leave, or because they also enjoy the culture, they enjoy their job, but like, because that's how you really, you really buy yourself some freedom and flexibility. Or like, it's taken me a long time to figure out how to run more than one business successfully. So
Yeah, it's hard.
in 2023, I shut down everything but Easy Button because I need to get it to a place where it was, solid with a real team where I could then do other things. And it takes a long time. Like, it then took me 3 years, 2.5 years to stabilize it, to really stabilize it, where like, what we thought going into a month or our net margin would be, what actually played out happened without me having to jump in every single day.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's tough to do that because if you have 5 businesses going on, and everyone always likes to talk about how many businesses they own. And once again, the people who are really rich don't give a fuck. Yes, it doesn't matter. And then it's like, dude, I know how hard it is to build one business. Like, I have 2, I guess. The rentals are a different business. But it's like, just 2 businesses alone is fucking crazy. Like, it's like that, so I'm thinking like, how is this person who's allegedly saying they have 10 businesses? That doesn't even make any sense to me, unless they're like Jeff Bezos or something. Like, it just doesn't, like, the people who actually are operators know that is bullshit, because it's so hard to run a few of them well. Like, how could this?
Well, it's inclusive of it too. Like, I think about that. So, like, for me, like, I have a business that's I've essentially I have 3 businesses. 2 of them I have zero involvement in. So the only one I'm the full-time CEO of Easy Button. My real estate side, I really have zero involvement in. And then I own a home service franchisor software for franchises that I've been running for over a year now. But I have zero involvement in the day to day.
Yeah.
And I think the way I think about business is like, you have, your moonshots, you have your enterprise plays, and you have your cash flow companies. And like, I think everyone should start with the cash flow business. Like, wholesaling and flipping gets you in a good cash position. You can put a bunch of money away. You can always go back to it. It's not that complex. Yeah. And if you want to take a moonshot, go for it. Try to start a software. Try to do something like that. But for most people, when they say, oh, I own a pressure washing company and I do wholesaling and I do Airbnb and I do all this stuff, like, their problem is that like, they just don't want to solve the hard part of whatever one of those companies.
Yeah. So then they go shallow, and then they go let me get some.
Yeah, which is how you make all the money, is you really master something. And
Dude.
Yeah, then you have spinoffs, like, again, going back to the Heat and Dana, like, they have a development arm, a lending arm, a syndication arm, property management, wholesaling, but they did them all one at a time. They spent 5 years building their wholesale company, and then they spent 5 years building their lending business. And that can work. It's still very difficult.
But they're all vertically integrated too. So one business takes care of the other one. So that it makes more sense to do that because it's not like they have an HVAC company and then they're like hard money lenders. Like like the wholesale business. Yeah, right. That'd be interesting. The wholesale business feeds the brokerage and then that feeds the lending business. Yeah. It's like it makes sense. Like,
Everything he's tried to do, and he's admitted everything he's tried to do outside of that vertical integration
probably didn't work. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not because they're bad operators. It's because they are good at the real estate business and the other businesses they have are congruent with the real estate business. And that's where I see so many jokers out. Oh, I got an AI consulting company. It's like, dude, do you even know how to use Claude? Are you high right now? Like,
Yeah.
let's just sit there. Let's give you a drug test first. Anyways, on that note, I want to talk about something else that you've been mentioning online that's interesting. I haven't even talked to you face to face about this. What are you doing with AI, bro? Like, because everyone's talking about AI. You know, I'm sure people who watch this are using AI now. Like, what are you doing in AI to pertaining to motivated sellers, right? Because that's what most people are interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll touch on. I think it's a little bit of a bubble. Like when I look at, when you go back to like the COVID-ish, that NFTs in the metaverse.
Oh my God.
Everyone was like, dude, in a year from now, we're going to be living our lives in the metaverse. And Facebook changed their name. Like they invested so much money into these goggles and no one took to it. And then, we had NFTs and it was like, oh, money's not going to be a thing. We're going to use these NFTs and these altcoins. And everyone went crazy. And now that bubble kind of burst. Bitcoin's a thing, but it's really not the same thing. I look at AI in a lot of ways, like it's the same thing of the hype of, we're not going to have jobs in 2 years and everything's going to be robots. And that's kind of burst, but I think there's a lot of technical use cases for it that help you do more deals. And I think for a lot of people, it's a golden object, but you got to look at things in your business that can be improved with AI, right? One of those things is that we build for our clients. The only thing that I market that anything related to AI is we build this tool we call Atlas, which, every single day it pulls in all the different motivated lead types from the county, downloads the PDF, cleans them up, enriches them, makes sure there's owner information, property information, skip traces it, and gets it marketable. So every single day you can get, first look at the probates, obituaries, pre-foreclosures, divorces, tax delinquents, code violations, water shut off, all of those. That's incredibly valuable. And we do build those for some of our clients because it's a useful tool. And then you can use a lot of it in, workflow augmentation with your underwriting and your KPI tracking and like you're managing your website. I rebuilt my whole website and all the stuff instead of paying an agency 10 grand, did it with, Manus and there's a lot of
Cloud Code and Manus to take care of that for free.
But yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of things as a founder you can do to limit if I was a founder of a real estate company and say, what can I do operationally to limit my overhead with AI? And then what can I do to get to sellers quicker with AI? And those are the two use cases because realistically, the sales side, you're not going to use AI for. We're like, you don't try to use an AI bot to take your pay-per-click calls. Like it's just not a good idea. So it's, the conversation part, the putting deals together part should always be, human focused, but in operations and marketing and a lot of that stuff can go to AI. So yeah, I look at it, I have a belief that any work not done on your current constraint is a distraction. And so if you're honest with yourself and AI can help you solve that constraint, great. But for most people, it's going to be nothing but a distraction for the most part.
From the hard stuff, and the thing that I like that you talked about there is like, if you think about it, if you use it like your scraper, right, that will ultimately put you in front of more sellers where you can spend more time doing the hard thing, which is negotiating and getting good deals, right? So that is really what it's getting you towards versus if someone has to spend all researching and enriching data, like that's like kind of like BS, like not BS work because it's important, but like AI is good enough now to do that. And then the operator or the, organization can now spend more time actually doing the thing that matters, which is making offers and negotiating and following up. Right. So that's something pretty cool, man. Are you, so it goes in and it basically scrapes all the niche data and it just kind of serves it on a silver platter every day so that they just go out and get after it.
Yeah, they wake up and they have, we have 22 new leads that were scraped this month.
Yeah. You know what that's doing too with data? Because I was thinking about this the other day. Like, you've been doing this for a long time like me. I remember back in the day, it was like the value was, oh my God, I'm going to get the XYZ list from this vendor. And it was like, oh, it's so expensive, but it's worth it. I feel like data now is becoming kind of a commodity because like everyone can get it now with AI. So I think being able to execute that data is really where the money is. And that's what you're solving with your tool, Atlas, I believe is what you said it was. Because that's what people want. They don't want the data. They want to get the deals from the data. And if your AI software can get the deals faster in terms of the marketability of the contact, there you go. That's where AI is actually legit, right? And it's not just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know I do think it's a distraction for most people. Like I think you take two real estate operators and the first guy just focuses on, talking to agents and sellers and buyers, all day, and the other guy tinkers with AI. The first person is going to
Yeah,
get
right.
some amount of money, right? And that's what we're
Yeah,
doing business for, right? Is money.
exactly.
That's the truth of it. So like, why wouldn't you? Why want to optimize for money and for profit? And yeah, so the AI thing is an important topic. I made a lot of podcasts about it, and I think we just these two new guys that came into our company. I was talking to them yesterday, and they're in Seattle. They're incredibly intelligent. They've been doing this business for a long time. They're like, oh, we got to show you, like, we made this perfect spreadsheet. We have like our perfect KPIs, and we have our, our perfect roadmap and plan, and we have like our perfect this and our perfect that.
Like, bro, fuck that.
But I'm like, well, yeah, but why aren't we selling the deals that we have? Like, because they have all these deals they haven't been able to sell that are under contract. And I'm like, I'd be spending my day calling every person that buys in this area and trying to place the deal instead of, tinkering with stuff. So
Tinkering with his software. That's, dude,
yeah,
you hit it on the head too, because especially with like, well, selling a flip is obviously on the MLS. That's a different story. But like selling a wholesale deal, like the truth is, if it's a good deal and you have a, respectable amount of people that you're going to sell your fucking deals, right? It's like, that's the thing. People like, I see so many wholesalers, they have a house they're trying to get 450 for it, and it's the comps are 525 and it needs 30 grand. It's like, brother, you take your software and stick it up your ass, because it's not going to help you sell this bad deal. You need to have a hard conversation with the seller and actually make a low offer, because when you get your low offer accepted, then you can sell your deal for a profit. And that's like, that's just the way it is. And the software might help you automate the marketing to it, but it's not going to sell a shitty deal that doesn't make any money, because the value is in the negotiation on the front end if you solve their problem. And that's where, you know what I mean? It's like, it always comes back to like human nature, the path of, I'm not like a philosopher or anything, but the path of least resistance. It's like, nobody wants to offer Sally 50 cents on the dollar because it's uncomfortable. But the truth is, that's the only way you're probably, I mean, obviously you got to solve her problems, right? But that's the thing that AI will not automate. And I see people now, oh yeah, I got AI agents taking phones. It's like, dude, come up to Seattle, drop yourself off in Bellevue, take your AI tool, try to buy a couple houses in Bellevue at a discount with your AI agent, and call me in a couple months and we'll see how those results are. I can almost guarantee you're gonna get It's like, fuck off, dude. Like, you don't even know, like, yeah, it's like, come on now. Like, I don't even think that would work in the South or something. Not saying people down there are stupid, but it is what it is. It's just like, that's not gonna work. Because I always telling somebody that, I'm like, dude, if you think anybody is going to sell their house to an AI agent when it's most likely their only asset, you're crazy, because it's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to, maybe through text you can talk to them and stuff, but like, you're not having an AI agent buy a house for any price at volume, at scale, and have it actually work out. But anyway, I digress. Like, you got me. I'm going to get off my fucking horse.
I think it's an important topic.
It's like, dude, like, just people they don't use their mind. Like, they don't think about it. They're like, oh yeah, it sounds great. I'm going to buy his program for AI callers. And anyways, all right, man. So listen, I won't keep you too long. I know you're a busy guy. So
Yeah, I think we can jump out.
wrapped it up. So what, if people want to connect with, I know you got a lot of stuff going on. I know you run these webinars. Well, how often do you run those, by the way?
Just once a month.
Once a month. So I encourage anybody here to follow Cole on the internet, follow him on Instagram. We'll put his tags here, and check out his webinars, because he does some seriously valuable stuff, and he does these webinars once a month. And, I've been able to send some people his way, and then those people are getting a lot of value from it. So Cole, if people want to follow you on Instagram, what is your handle? And then what is the website for them to kind of check out what you got going on with your?
Yeah, it's at Cole Johnson on every platform, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah. And yeah, same goes for you, dude. Like, I think if you guys are listening, because we're also gonna put this out on our podcast. If you guys are in Seattle and or in the business, you guys are a great guy to know. He's come to some of our events. We got to know each other well over the years, and he's a great operator. So if you're in the Seattle area up there, boots on the ground, definitely a good guy to reach out to and see. We talked a lot about relationship today, and see what you guys can put together, because that's how I've grown my business. I know that's how he's grown his.
Yep, that's right. Well, listen, man, it's always good catching up with you, buddy. This was a good one. I'm excited to put out my one interview every 3 months, and you know, I think you're on the lucky list, buddy. You're on the lucky list, and keep doing good stuff. And it's always good to stay in touch with you, buddy. And congrats once again on becoming a dad. That's awesome.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.